Welcome back once more, ladies and gentlemen. We have our third best of three of the evening coming up. Zephyr Dota versus Johnny's Revenge. Now, Zephyr, of course, running their roster with Merlini in the stead of Purge, and they have a full roster outside of that. Sexy Bambo, Aosin, Corey, and Blitz joining Mr. Merlini. And Johnny's Revenge, consisting of Winter, Paulison, Chibi X, Johnny, and Sharky. So a pretty scary lineup, kind of a new all-star team, if you will. And we'll see how it fares. I am Zyori, joined remotely by Blaze, though I think he's still maybe AFK. Oh, you're here? Good. Phew. Perfect timing, man.
Indeed.
What's up, Blaze?
Wouldn't want to miss a second of this. This looks so awesome. I actually hadn't heard about Johnny's Revenge's lineup until this very moment, but I just look in the lobby. I just see all these amazing players that I've seen so much potential from over the past several months, and I can't wait to see what this team can do. Like, obviously, with a newer team, coordination and communication is what you really have to develop, but as far as raw mechanical skill and just real passion, these guys are the heart of SEA right here. These guys are members of Orange, members of Scythe, and Johnny, of course, was a member of first Chainstacks and then Arrow, and now forming this team here. I'm really curious to see what they can do. But of course, Zephyr, they're fueled by friendship, and they have a lot of potential with the heroes that we see here on the board.
The power of friendship. Yeah, this current iteration of Zephyr has been a little bit lackluster. They have not been performing so well in this season of KDL 3, so how will they fare here against Johnny's Revenge? Are there bets? Do we dare look at the Dota 2 lounge and see how things are shaping up? 59% in favor of Team Johnny. 41 for Zephyr.
I don't know if I'd go against that. This is a really hard sell because I haven't seen the team play at all, but I know these players, and if they really get their act together, I think this team could go extremely far. Like, I would compare this to the beginning of North American Rejects, where, like, you look at that, and now, of course, they're sponsored by Na'Vi, and these players have so much potential, and I've seen some terrible plays from them, of course, because, you know, everybody has their low points, but these guys are some of the peak of SEA play, so I'd definitely have to say that on their A game, they can take on the world, and Zephyr, they got their work cut out for them. A nice draft so far. I like it. Viper, now with Abaddon. Oh, that's very interesting. But yeah, it's all about the team fight. It's all about keeping the Viper alive, the Death Prophet on the front lines, and just holding on against what this combo from Johnny's Revenge is bringing.
Yeah, we have the rare treat this game of getting to see the Brewmaster. He has been pretty consistently banned out. Him and Lycan have really been the two that I have seen so few of recently because nobody wants to play against him. But Zephyr will grab a Brewmaster to go with their Viper, Death Prophet, and you mentioned the Abaddon. I'm having a little bit of trouble seeing the clear-cut strategy between of this Zephyr draft. I guess this is pretty death ball-y, right around that 15-minute mark. If they group up, early mech, start knocking down these towers, it could be pretty scary.
Yeah, their 2 to 3, or actually probably 3 to 4 man movement is going to be extremely potent. Vipers and Death Prophet are both heroes that you build up mechanism on, and the reason for it is not necessarily because Viper doesn't need mana, which is it contributes, but the big thing is because they love effective HP. The longer they stay alive, the longer they stay in the fight, the more they can accomplish with the Corrosive, with the Crypt Swarm, just in general. The Viper is a great hero for the longevity of the team fight, and he just needs something extra to keep him in it, and that's what Abaddon does. He gives them the Mist Coil, gives them an Aphotic to cancel out maybe a Concoction, and Viper is just going to be able to stand and deliver so much potential damage, and it really is going to be a thorn in the side of Johnny's Revenge if they can't target, prioritize appropriately. And it's almost like it's a hero that is, or hero combo rather, that is perfect against a team that's not experienced with one another. If they don't know who's calling the shots, they're going to have a lot of issues here.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. Now, Johnny's Revenge will take their time with their final ban. Zephyr Dota will need another support of sorts. The question is, which support are they angling for? And to that question, I have no answer.
I would say Rubik, if it's not banned out here. There's a lot of potential for Rubik against all these heroes. Maybe not the Razor Steels, but definitely against the Tide, the Sky, the Alchemist. So I think that would be really solid. But anything that can contribute to the fight alongside the Abaddon would be really cool. They have a decent amount of like chase and slow with the Viper, but I think at least one more disable would be appropriate.
Yeah, I think the Dazzle Band does make some sense. A hero that synergizes well with Death Prophet, of course, Weave mixed with the Spirits. That minus armor really, really hurts. And Dazzle just pairs kind of nicely with these right clickers in general. Instead, Zephyr will opt for the Vengeful Spirit. They get some crowd controls, a little utility with the swap, and also some minus armor with that Wave of Terror. So there you go. Zephyr ready to team fight.
Yeah, good frontline heroes. They essentially just want to keep Abaddon on the backline since he's the most vulnerable of the three in the tri-lane. And as long as he can get the shield off to cancel out one of the major abilities of Sky or Alchemist, then they're just going to be able to go extremely aggressive anywhere but underneath the tower. The tower gets a little dicey, but in general, if they go for an aggressive tri-lane, put Brewmaster and Death Prophet in the mid and safe, either one, not really respectively, but it's very interchangeable. They can do so much work here.
Yep. And all right. So, face value looking at the drafts. Any thoughts here, Blitz? Oh my God, Blaze! This is gonna be rough. Now we're casting Blitz, and I'm gonna be. Yeah. Oh man, I'm just not gonna say your name. Mystery Man on the other side of the computer. Do you like one draft over the other?
Well, I gotta say that Zephyr's draft is one that I would like to draft myself. Like it's very close to my own kind of playstyle and how I like the game to proceed. So I have to have some bias favoritism just because of like I love that aspect of like an Abaddon or a Treant that can put people on the front line and just do a lot of work. It's very Goblak-esque. If you've seen a lot of Roxas games and stuff like that, he just loves this kind of hero composition where you just take those heroes that their only vulnerability is that they're not as durable as they need to be early on, and you fix that right up with a hero like Abaddon. So I gotta say, I love to see what Zephyr can do with this, and I think it has more potential. But tried and true, JR's lineup is not bad in any capacity.
Prepare for battle.
Yep, certainly not. And as always, a lot of it will come down to execution. So, let's see how these lanes will settle down and introduce some players here. This is game one of this best-of-3 series. We've got Team Zephyr on the Dire side. Sexy Bambo headed down to the off lane here on the Brewmaster. He'll be joined by Aosin on the support Abaddon in the mid lane. That'll be Corey playing on the Viper. We have Blitz on the Death Prophet in the position 1, and Merlini here. He's going to be supporting on the Vengeful Spirit. You know, before he left for Korea, I remember a quote or two of Merlini saying, "I will never play support." Maybe it's a carry Venge, you never know. No, definitely a support Venge, but Zephyr has been rotating their roles a lot. Blitz was playing mid, now he's kind of playing position 1. They had Merlini on mid, and I think every game that I've seen them with Merlini so far, they've done the roles slightly differently. So
yeah. I noticed that too. Blitz, I've seen him play support Shadow Demon stuff, so they really are trying to find how it fits, how it all works together. And I mean, yeah, there's only improvement in that regard. If you're experimenting, you're finding what works, what doesn't, then you're always going to be finding new opportunities. So this might work extremely well here if they can find the right matchup. For now, it looks like it's just going to be an off-lane Tidehunter, and that means that we're going to see more roaming activity from the Venge and the Abaddon.
Yep, and it will be winner on the Tidehunter here, headed to the off lane for Johnny's Revenge. Johnny, the captain here, will be on the Alchemist, support roaming around. Paulison on the Razor, headed to the mid lane. It will be Sharky on the support Skywrath Mage down here in the bottom, and that leaves us with Chibi X here on the Ember Spirit in the position 1, going with a level 1 Flame Guard.
Indeed. So we're going to see off lane Brewmaster come out. It's going to be Boots first for Sexy Bambo. He is going to be supported to some degree by Eosin on the Abaddon shield first. And we do see Merlini rotating around with this Invis rune, though that is soon to expire here. He is on the Vengeful Spirit. So that, yeah, leaves Corey to just kind of go 1v1 against the Razor, which is a pretty interesting matchup, both having the potential to pull ahead, but neither one being 100% conclusive unless it's a raw skill difference between players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Two very strong laners. Between the Static Link and Viper, just being Viper with the Nether Toxins and the poison attacks, it'll be interesting. We'll see how it fares. But this bottom lane is where most of the action is going to be at. And we see the Dire side with the Sentry down. They will win the Ward battle, at least for now. They finish off a lane Observer and have an Observer of their own down here to give some vision of the bottom rune. We'll see initiation onto Chibix and the Magic Missile to start things off. They will dive this as Bambo does have the Aphotic Shield on, but he doesn't want to commit for it. And Ember Spirit will survive. Smart choice to about face, as Bambo did take quite a few tower shots there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the only thing is they only have the one stun to lock down. They have the clap, they have the stun. After that, they're running against the max movement speed opponent. So that's at least the Venge gives them some chase. I've seen some lineups where they don't even have the Venge, and suddenly they're like can only hit them twice. They can't die, but they certainly can't get any kills. But as they win out on these trades a couple of times over, they have some real kill potential. And yeah, this is going to obviously keep the Skywrath and the Alchemist busy, just keeping their Ember Spirit alive. And that leaves plenty of time for Blitz to win the top lane here. That's a very favorable matchup with the ranged Death Prophet versus Tide.
Well, as you say that, Tide's actually faring pretty well. He's only one last hit behind the Death Prophet. And, well, she'll clear out that wave there with the Crypt Swarm. But he's doing pretty darn well. 2 points in the Kraken Shell, absorbing as much damage as he can. And he'll maybe get a little more lopsided once he hits level 5 and gets that next point in Crypt Swarm. But Tide's doing just fine for now.
Yeah, now we see Razor with the movement speed advantage. Polasan going to get some good damage from this link, but he's diving a little deep even with that haste rune. He can't be slowed, but if he takes tower shots, he's going to be dropping into that Nether Toxin range where Viper can really put on the hurt. We do see the Magic Missile come out. Sharky, a great target of choice. The clap comes through. This should be first blood. Right clicks to try to finish it, and yes, it is. Nice double stun, but too little too late. Merlini will claim Sharky's life.
Yep, absolutely. So Zephyr, well, off to a good start here, and now this tri-lane will certainly go in their favor as they've gotten that bit of bonus gold, and we'll just sort of shift the tide of momentum a little bit. Ember Spirit going all in with, not all in rather, but going for the Flame Guard primary build. 1 point in the Searing Chains, but level 3, second point in the Flame Guard build. So he really just wants to survive through all this magic damage, and I think it's the right call in this lane, as they do have a fair amount of magic damage burst.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to focus on the Ember Spirit because of the aspects of Sleight of Fist. If he skills it, can dodge out the Magic Missile, and more relevant to this current situation is that Flame Guard just mitigates so much of their potential damage. But even then, you're at least preventing Chibi from farming. He's only 10 CS. They're controlling this lane pretty effectively. It's going to be Johnny to go in, though, with this concoction.
Yeah, they go straight in onto Aosin, but Sharky actually goes on to Bambo at first. A little miscommunication on which target they want to go for. Abaddon will survive for now as he backs out. Bambo looking for a new target, trying to isolate Chibi, and he'll be stuck on the side shop here. But taking some damage from the Acid Spray, Magic Missile onto the Ember, they'll bring him down. Abaddon with the Mist Coil, Aphotic Shield combo. That'll make it 2-0. Zephyr furthering their lead in this tri-lane.
That's exactly what I was talking about in the draft. This is a lineup that's really hard to prioritize targets, and if you have two people with different opinions that don't have enough experience with each other to decide who's the chief and who's the Indian, you can't really make the right call. And Aosin, like right there, was a perfect focus target. If you silence him, he can't shield himself. No shield, and the fact that he has low armor, it makes him a perfect target. But the split, the damage wasn't there, and they actually lose Ember Spirit's life for the first time this game.
Yeah. Aren't chiefs also Indians? Isn't chiefs? Aren't chiefs a subset of Indians?
Yeah, well, I suppose. But at the same time, you know, you can have a nice foreign exchange
perhaps.
there.
Peon. Oh boy. Hey, how's this mid lane going? Paulson 20-8 on the Razor. Corey sitting 17-6 on the Razor right now. So still pretty darn even, but Razor is slightly outfarming him here. Going for the fast mech on the Viper, and Razor might actually be doing the exact same thing here. Just the battle of the mech timings here in the mid lane. Down bottom, Zephyr looking to be aggressive in the jungle. They won't find an opening, but they do get a nice lane ward down. So that'll make this even easier for them. Perhaps if they can do wraparounds. They have vision of the pool now. No. Just stacking the odds ever in their favor here in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and this also lets them know 100% that Alchemist is not here. We do see that Johnny made his rotation up to the top lane here, maybe looking for an opportunity to jump onto Blitz, but he has a nice ward in place as well. So lane wards are really giving Zephyr the advantage in these laning opportunities to make sure that they prevent bad things from happening, and from there they can kind of just continue with their early advantage, push through once they kind of get to the point of, not necessarily critical mass, but just the death ball level, where you have your Exorcism, you have your durable heroes that the Abaddon can back up.
Yeah, and Chibi gets initiated on, does connect with a nice set of Searing Chains, but they'll continue to follow up. Merlini inbound, he throws the Magic Missile, but does get disjointed by the Sleight of Fist. I'm not sure Chibi can survive this regardless, though. They're diving pretty deep here, and Flame Guard just not enough to keep him alive. Now, while we were watching that, we missed a kill on Blitz in the top lane as the Razor rotated.
Yeah, they did have to commit the Ravage, though. The Ravage was necessary to get into concoction range, and they even moved the Haste Razor up there. So 3 versus 1 and a Ravage committed just to get that one kill. If it wasn't for the Venge's death just now, it would have been still very favorable for Zephyr. But now, not so sure. Polasan coming through, doing major damage, but one right click was required onto Eosin, and he didn't get it off.
Yeah. And the shield keeps Bambo safe and sound. So Paulson just heads back towards the mid lane, sitting on brown boots currently, with, I think, his phase boots coming on the courier. Nope, going for treads, but his upgraded boots are coming on the courier nonetheless. Even though Blitz took a tumble in the top lane, he's still our last hit leader, 35-2 versus the 34-3 tied. So not only has he found a lot of experience this game, but he has arcane boots and already 700 gold towards his blink dagger. We're only 7 minutes in. This is going to be one farmed winter here, Blaze.
Yeah, he's going to be able to contribute a lot to the fights here. Looks like as far as mechanism build-up that he might have that on his shoulders, as the Razor has other plans in mind. But on mid lane, we do see Johnny come out. Concoction will hit on him, and that's a lot of damage to drain. They might be able to bring him down.
Yeah, Corey throws out the Viper Strike onto Johnny, loses most of his damage, but TP in from Eosin. They don't even need it. Corey would have been just fine. Either way, does survive. Up top, Winter gets dove by Blitz. But he doesn't commit for it, just clears up the creep wave, and looks like Blitz will commence the pushing here. He does have an Exorcism available, though he's only level 8. And he'll play it a little more defensively. Oh, he needs to wait for his creeps, pardon me.
Yeah, they've kind of left Chibi high and dry here. Like, obviously, they don't have the range of initiation to fully commit to him, but just the fact that he's not farming at all. Like, where does an Ember Spirit go from here if he's only sitting at 17 CS, 8 minutes into the game, and doesn't even have his ultimate yet? Like, he's pulling creeps for himself right now because he doesn't have anything better to do.
Yeah. Not too often you see the carry actually doing the pulling for himself, and he actually whiffed it. Oof.
Oh, that's the practice thing. He's definitely a core player. And
that's a good point, yeah. But, I don't know. Johnny's Revenge. They seem to be in sort of when we saw that last fight where they went on different targets, just not all on the same page, which is pretty common when you have these kind of all-star lineups before they're a solid team and they can read each other and know what's going on. It just takes some practice to get into that team mindset. Chibi with good positioning here, recognizing that trickery could be afoot. They are smoked up. Merlini hiding on the other side of the trees, and they'll go for it. Searing Chains come out straight away to slow down Bambo, and that's all it's going to take. Chibi will be okay. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Ravage used once again on Blitz. Concoction flies through. TP's coming in, but they won't be able to keep the DP alive. Maybe they can find a recovery kill. Magic Missile from Merlini. Out onto Winter, and nope, that'll be it. They'll just walk away. So Blitz takes a spill once again here in the top.
Yeah, they're really willing to commit that Ravage onto him solo to bring him down. They go in, they got the concussive, and that's what set up the chain of events there. And because Eosin was occupied with their activity down on Chibi on the bottom lane, that gave them that opening. So they really coordinated that timing well at the very least, and are looking for a dive now on Eosin, who's possibly the most vulnerable at this point in time.
Not even level 6. He has an aphotic shield, and that's about it. Maybe he can hope for a deny on the miscoil, and he'll find it. Nicely played, but Blitz TP's in. He pops the Exorcism, but he'll fall shortly after. Not even close to surviving that one. Oh, boy. Back-to-back deaths for Blitz. That'll slow down his momentum quite a bit.
Absolutely. And now they can just push on this tower, no problem at all. They don't have like a Bassi aura or anything, but they can still take majority of the damage, and it's going to be Corey and Merlini to try to make the exchange here on the mid. But yeah, that obviously, nothing needs to be said about the Blitz death there. The Exorcism, the fact that he was there at all, both unfortunate, and at least we get to supplement that with a cool deny from Eosin.
Yeah, steps in the right direction. Looks like Johnny's Revenge will TP mid and make a defense. Corey and Merlini just don't have a lot of pushing power between the two of them. And the top tier 1 tower will go down. No deny, no defense mounted by Zephyr. Well, following the failed defense from Eosin and Blitz just a few moments ago. And Chibi actually getting a lot of space to farm down in the bottom lane. His net worth still leaves something to be desired. Only 30 last hits up on him here, but does grab the phase boots, and this space is giving him some room to recover after a rough laning stage.
So now, full control of the top lane. Winter is actually farming the jungle here. He's going to have a Blink Dagger very shortly if that's what he's going for, presumably since the mechanism is being built up by the Razor. So, a Blink Ravage in 20 seconds. Do you think this is going to be what tips the scales in their favor, or are we going to see some more action from Zephyr?
We'll see, and maybe we'll hold that thought here as it looks like Paulison may fall victim to a gank. Sexy Bambo with a double damage rune, but oh no! They'll whiff it, he'll get away. Maybe they can change their focus to the mid lane, and Sharky in trouble, but Merlini just can't get in position to use a magic missile here. Only brown boots. He's just too darn slow.
Ravage.
And now the Ravage comes in, connects on 2. They do lose the Skywrath Mage, but Corey getting very low. Primal Split comes out. Winter taking a lot of damage as well. They will throw the Razor up in the Tornado. Viper falls, but now the Tidehunter goes down as well. Zephyr might be able to take this fight as they finish off the Tidehunter as well, but now Chibi joining the party. Ember Spirit goes down. Blitz pops the Exorcism, gets the Aphotic Shield, and that'll start to clean things up. Chibi on the retreat, and Zephyr do take a successful team fight finally. Much needed. Can they find any map objective after it, though, with this Exorcism online? Yeah, it doesn't look like it, but they'll go back in for another fight. Paulson taking heavy damage. Chibi doing what he can to keep his buddy alive with the Searing Chains. Ghost chasing him down. That'll be the end of the Razor. And Blitz's ultimate will prove successful.
That was extremely effective by Zephyr. Like, that's the best Ravage you can hope for at that stage of the game. Like, that in most games, like 90% of games, that would be defining this period of time. But instead, they not only survived through it, but they turn it around. The Abaddon pick really paying dividends there as they kept Blitz on the front line, kept him alive, and that Exorcism just chewed through the opposition. Now they go for the mid tower without any Ravage. I mean, how do you defend?
Yeah, you pretty much can't, and that's the problem with those long cooldowns. Johnny charging straight forward, does connect with a concoction onto Bambo. Mystic Flare comes in, doing a bit of damage as well. Chibi finally joining the party. They will get a kill onto the Skywrath as they chase down Bambo. On the other side of the fight, Paulson in the front line, Static Link on Corey. He steals a lot of damage, but now the Viper Strike comes. There's a swap from Merlini. Easy kill on the Razor. Zephyr regaining all this lost momentum they had a few moments ago. Winter possibly in some trouble as well. Takes a Magic Missile. Crypt Swarm. They lay into him, but the Watermelon just too darn tanky. And Zephyr will have to reset a little bit here. They may hang around to try and finish off this tower. Or maybe not.
Well, even still, their movements right now, Zephyr, like, they're giving up absolutely nothing with this. Eusen is definitely the MVP so far with his decision-making, his positioning, always shielding off disables, getting the heals where they need to be, and as a whole, the team is like, they don't drop below half HP. There's no point in time where they were really under too much pressure, and they're just getting the free kills. Now, this is time that Winter needed to get the Ravage off cooldown, and we'll be back up at 20, perhaps even level 11 to add a little bit more pain to it, but even still, the movement from Zephyr early has certainly gotten them this advantage, and with the mechanism on Corey now, it's so difficult to bring them down.
Yep, the mech advantage is pretty key here. Razor's still working on it. He actually has the recipe purchased and just needs the buckler at this point, so he's pretty darn close. So Johnny's Revenge will have that at their disposal in this next skirmish coming up. Zephyr are grouping up once again. It appears they do want to continue pushing. Primal Split is available, as is the Exorcism, so why the hell not?
Yeah, Ring 2 Exorcism 2, which is just immense in damage output. So it's all about the Death Prophet staying alive through this fight, but the Ravage is online, and we'll see if Winter can, in about 15 seconds, come to the aid of his team.
Well, Primal Split forward. They'll go straight on to Paulson. Viper Strike as well. It's a dead Razor to start off the fight. Now the Tornado on the Alchemist. They'll turn their sights onto him. He has the Chemical Rage on, but Johnny not so tanky right now. They've got more than enough to bring him down, and it's only a level 1 Chemical Rage at that. Blitz doesn't even use the Exorcism for it, and Zephyr find 2 kills and a free Tier 1 tower.
So maybe they can Exorcism for Roche. That would be pretty immense if they could pull that off, and they are making their way that direction, but perhaps just a Tier 1. Nope, it is going to be Roshan. So the Ravage is still up, but the fact that it wasn't used to help his allies out there was mostly on behalf of Winter's greed. He had his TP on cooldown for about 20 seconds, could not possibly come all the way across the map to help his team out, and now they're too far away to get to the fight around the pit. So in this position, they take the fight, they take the tower, now they take the Roshan, and Winter's not been here for any of it.
Yeah, Johnny's Revenge will smoke up and possibly thinking of contesting Roche, but too little too late. It falls uncontested. Aegis of the Immortal does go the way of the Viper. So Corey will have 2 lives in this next fight, and yeah, Johnny's Revenge won't even go for it. They just rotate into the jungle and keep farming. So yes. Zephyr really getting a lot of footing here, and they're not going to stop the push. They'll stay as 5 and still 2 Tier 1 towers standing. They can certainly keep fighting.
I think they're actually in a temporary defensive posture because of the fact that Primal Split and Exorcism are both on cooldown. But if they can hold this position here with the Aegis, then they can just turn around and take tower after tower. So this is the timing that JR need to take. But Bambo's going to be the initiator here.
Yeah. They'll try and be aggressive. Chibi takes a Magic Missile. Wave of Terror flies through as well. Swap back. There's your Ravage. Connects on them all. Mystic Flare flies through. Zephyr taking a lot of damage. Mech tops him off. Will help keep him alive. Corey falls, but he's the Aegis carrier, the ideal target to get taken out. And now Johnny's Revenge on the back foot. Chibi getting low. They're looking for a kill here. Alchemist will be the first to fall, and that's a dead Razor. Can they find Chibi? He moves further into the trees, and nope, he TP's out to safety. But it's a good defense from Zephyr, and they find 2 kills in exchange for their Aegis.
And not an ulti was wasted that day. They have 20 seconds. They have everything back up, and they're about to be at full strength. Like, that's insane. Easton actually could have even kept the Aegis up on Viper, but he just kind of kept his resources in reserve, said, hey, we got the Aegis, might as well get full health, and then I still have more mana and health to commit to the fight. So, overall, just great decision-making from Zephyr, and JR, they need to find something big. Like, they can delay it a little bit with things like Acid Spray, but if they don't find kills, I mean, if you have, like, Mystic Flare hitting 1 or 2 people for the full duration, like, and you don't get a kill on top of that with a 4-man Ravage, I don't know a better situation for you to turn it around.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Again, these ideal Ravages, but they just don't have enough damage to follow up. The Mystic Flare has been sort of lackluster in general. He keeps dropping it in a group where it looks like it's going to do all this damage, but once it gets split across all the heroes, that 600 damage it drops out really doesn't feel so scary. Alchemist isn't hitting too hard right now, and Ember Spirit still trying to come online, working on his Drum of Endurance, but will complete it now as the Courier delivers it. But Ember, he gets scarier later on. Right now, his damage is just leaving something to be desired.
Yeah, and Sexy Bambo is 700 gold off of an Aghanim Scepter. A Blink Dagger Phase Boots Aghanim Scepter at maybe 19-20 minutes.
Yeah, that's a big panda. He's 50% ahead of the leading farmer on JR, who is actually Winter on the Tidehunter. So that just goes to show how fat he is at this stage in the game. And there's your race car blitz. He didn't go for the phase boots, but Arcane Drum Mules still pretty speedy. Not quite NASCAR level, but he's still cruising.
And you still get the utility. Like, he's got good effective HP. Like, you're not going to be able to burst down a 1200 HP hero with Abaddon right next to him. And then he's got the Yules for so much. Like, you can see the Ravage coming, avoid that. You get silenced by the Skywrath, dispel that. This Yules is just so insane. They already have the Tornado offensively from the Brewmaster, so I don't think he'll be using it to chase unless the Brew isn't involved. But it's just the fact that he buys 2.5 seconds in the fight that it just adds in more time for them to continuously dish out their damage, and JR don't have an answer. Chibi will be farmed enough at like the 50-minute mark, but right now they just couldn't possibly unless they find some picks by themselves.
Yeah. So let's look at the graphs. About a 7,500 gold, 5,000 experience lead for Team Zephyr. They certainly are in good shape, at least for now. Not too much item progression since we last spoke, but perhaps they're just waiting for Bambo to finish up that Ag Scepter. He has all the pieces in the bank, just waiting on his turn to use the Courier, the genuine Jade Hoof here. And after that, I think Zephyr may group up once again and let the Death Ball continue to commence. There is still a Tier 1 tower in the top lane standing. If they want to try to knock that down, probably your best bet here.
There is an Ancient Stack coming out for the Ember Spirit. If he did have like a Battle Fury, that would be great, but most likely it's just going to be used up by the Tide. With his Max Anchor Smash and 3 points of Kraken Shell, Winter will take no damage from these Ancients, and we'll be able to get some good golden experience. But as big as your Tide can get, he can't do it solo. Like, if he has Shiva's Refresher, that'll be something. But for right now, only being at 6k net worth, he's not going to be 1v5ing anytime soon. And the Ember Spirit, the Razor, they just don't have what they need. Nice movement from the Ember. Chibi able to just barely get out of dodge before the silence comes through, but even still, it's just avoiding losses rather than taking wins.
Yeah, but still playing with fire right there. I was looking around for his Fire Remnant. I couldn't find it, but yeah, I'm glad it was hiding in the trees there, else that could have just been a feed. Regardless, Zephyr will pressure this Tier 1 tower. Glyph comes out from Johnny's Revenge, and they want some tower exchanging. They'll go straight for the Tier 1 in the mid lane. And I have a feeling Zephyr will just let it go. They can continue pressing forward here. They still have the Exorcism available, and they can at least get a Tier 2. They could knock it down and then come back for a defense on their own Tier 2 if Johnny's Revenge continue to push. But instead, Aosin will TP down bottom, and it's just a Tier 1 for Tier 1 tower exchange.
Yeah, they're looking to pincer him in, but most likely everybody has TPs, so it shouldn't be... Actually, Sharky is by himself, but fortunately he's the one that's not close to the opposition. So the two with TPs will be able to evade, and Sharky gets the Invisorin. So in this position, they get essentially a Tier 1 for a Tier 1. The best they can hope for is those even exchanges, and just kind of spreading across the map. If they avoid the 5-ban, they can kind of split up the Death Ball a little bit, which is generally going to contribute to a longer game, which favors JR. Down bottom, though, Polasan really wants his tower, gets Viper struck, and he's going to go ahead and TP out. Nope, Merlini with the magic missile sends him packing.
He doesn't get the last hit, but does stop the deny on the tower, so I don't know. What do you think? A Razor for the tower kill right there, worth it, or should he have just backed up?
I mean, he's back up in 30 seconds. It didn't cost him anything but his life. I'd say it's perfectly worth it. One more kill on the board for Zephyr doesn't dramatically help them, but the tower death instead of deny really favors JR.
Okay, fair enough. So still an Exorcism available. Blitz sitting level 13 and now has a point booster, so I think he'll be moving into a Bloodstone here. And any other big item progression on the Radiant side? Ember Spirit working on his first Battle Fury, has the Perseverance and 900 gold to boot, so actually not too far off the mark. They are giving him some space to find recovery farm, but looks like that space will end here. Blitz with the Exorcism, they go straight for the tier 2 tower mid. They know there's no glyph available, and Bambo hops forward. Primal Split straight away. Boulder out onto Paulson. There's the swap from Merlini. Magic Missile. And the Mystic Flare almost enough to bring down the Venge, but Merlini will survive. Razor, though, won't be so lucky. And Alchemist life as he takes a boulder to the face. Tornado out onto the Skywrath, and Sexy Bambo just zoning out the team. He'll finish off the Skywrath Mage as well with a Thunderclap. And that'll be the end of it. They get the tier 2 tower, they get 2 kills, and Zephyr will walk away happy with their spoils.
Yeah. At least Chibi's going to be able to get something out of it. He is pushing here on the top lane.
Yeah,
so
he got a tier 2 tower out of that. That's actually pretty good for JR's Revenge. The 2 deaths were unfortunate, but at least they find a tower.
Dire's top tower.
This next Roche is kind of going to find the game. It's a long spawn for... Actually, no, it is going to be 2.5 minutes. So it is a pretty long spawn for Zephyr. If they had it like right now, they could just go for a GG push. But it looks like they're just going to... Oh, 2-man smoke. Oh, Corey wasn't there. So that's a little awkward. But anyways, yeah, they would love to be going for Roche right now. But instead, they're going to try to go maybe for a bait or a pickoff. Looks like the target choice should be Chibi here, and that makes sense. Though he does have 1 Remnant active.
And, ooh, a Hooded Defiance now up on Winner. So there will be a pipe inbound for the Tidehunter. As Zephyr just clear out their Ancients. They've got a cute 4-stack here. Yeah, double Thunder Hides. So they've got some Ancients to play around with. But, yeah, they'll settle for this Chibi. The sandwich is commencing. Sexy Bambo starts things off with a Thunderclap. There's the Flame Guard pop, but he doesn't have a Remnant down. He'll just try and TP out. Where's the interrupt? They don't have it. Oh, no. Merlini was too far behind. Couldn't get there in time to interrupt it. That's unfortunate. That could have been a free kill on Chibi. He was not ready for that gank.
Nah, his Remnant had just expired, and I guess Merlini just wanted to cover more bases. Said, okay, well, if he's really far off, I'll try to hedge him in. And they did essentially create that flank, but he wasn't in proximity to actually get the interrupt off. So he survives, he continues farming, and he makes his way towards that Battle Fury long term. But I don't know. Ember Spirit on the defensive with a Battle Fury is pretty insane. They go into a small choke point, you do that damage, no amount of armor is going to help you against the cleave, and it is quite considerable. But right now he doesn't even have max Sleight of Fist because he's on level 12, and he's still just so far behind that he's not even going to be able to amplify his farm that dramatically just by the Battle Fury alone.
Yeah, but as you mentioned, it does make the pushing a lot more difficult for Zephyr when they try to break high ground. Even with an Aegis, as they continue to farm Roche, it's just so much damage in a small area. Up top, Bambo forced to use the Primal Split as Winter and Paulson get aggressive on him. Tosses the boulder out onto Winter, who has now picked up a pipe. And Razor inside the Cyclone. Bambo needs to be a little bit cautious here. They don't have eyes on the whole Radiant team, so they could be inbound. He is about to go back to Panda form, rather. And support is here, just trying to buy time. Winter wants to make the escape. Paulson may not be so lucky. Blitz will burn an ultimate for this. Ravage comes through, does connect onto Blitz. And that's a dead Death Prophet. One of the worst times for him to die. He just picked up that Bloodstone. And usually you want to try to grab a few kills after you grab the Bloodstone to buff up those charges. Not the opposite.
Instead, they're going to be most likely losing this tier 2. If the rotation can't come through, they spent TPs, they made their moves, and now they don't have any way to get back to the bottom lane. Actually, Blitz was very close to surviving there. If the Ravage had been like... If he had like 0.2, 0.3 more seconds left alive, then he could have Yulesed as soon as the Ravage effect ended, and then Eason would have been in range for some heals and some shields. But unfortunately, that close call, those milliseconds really add up. in that scenario, and they do lose some semblance of control over this map. Roshan's not as secure as it once was, and they do have to wait for some CDs.
Yeah, Roshan has now respawned, though, and this is second Rosh. Of course, Zephyr on the dire side will try to use the advantage, and the minus armor from Merlini makes this a bit easier, but we see a Necro Book now coming out for the Brewmaster, so Sexy Bambo, they want more pushing utility, and he'll get it with some extra units.
So they've got 2 earn charges here. That should be enough for them to nullify most of Roshan's damage, but they still need everybody here. Ravage is on cooldown for 70 seconds. This is the best time to do it without committing exorcism or anything like that, and it looks like it is going to be another Aegis for them. JR doesn't even look to contest, just to push.
Yeah, and looking at the vision, they do have a ward on the high ground moving into their jungle, but vision stops right around here, and they don't know exactly what's going on. They're not privy to this Roshan assault. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Chibi and Sexy Bambo going blow for blow. Chibi almost getting brought down, but we'll be able to hop back to that Fire Remnant. Either way, Sexy Bambo creating a bit of space for his team. Roche falls, and once again, it is Corey who grabs the Aegis of the Immortal.
Yeah, so that's a very high impact Viper now. As far as his item pickup, he did go for the BKB, which is more effective with 1 life than it is with 2, but nevertheless, he's durable. He can avoid Ravage, and of course, even if he gets hit up by the Skywrath, not going to have too many issues there. So Viper's in a great position to just be that frontline individual, so it's kind of the order of precedence. It's Bambo, of course, going in first, because that's how Bambo loves to play. And he's got that Brewmaster, so assuming that he doesn't get silenced, it's Bambo first, right behind him is Corey, and then Blitz, who wants to stay alive for as long as possible.
Yeah, definitely right about that. And Corey did go for a slightly different item trajectory than we're used to. He went mech into BKB and now working towards the Ag Scepter. Still hasn't used that first BKB charge. So this team fight, he'll have 10 seconds of magic immunity with an Aegis of the Immortal. Corey has potential to be pretty devastating here. Ember Spirit, though, down in the bottom lane, knocking on the front door of Team Zephyr. He'll start chipping at this tier 3 tower. Now he'll TP back right away. Glyph popped kind of preemptively here. And, oh, wow. Oh, never mind. Never mind. I thought they double sentry'd, but it's an observer and a sentry. So, going to commit to this tower. Unstable Concoction will fly through. Connects onto Blitz. He gets 4 stab back. And this is where that Battle Fury Ember Spirit really starts to come into handy. See, Mystic Flare fly through, does a lot of damage. Corey, not a fear in the world right now. Blitz needs to be a little more careful. Plasma Field comes in. That procs the Aegis. Bambo goes down as well. 700 gold bounty going the way of Tide. And Viper, he'll get completely surrounded. Pops the BKB, trying to make the run for it, but it's not happening. JR will make a hold. Merlini looks to TP out. Not happening either. It's a 3-0, and they've lost the Aegis. It's a disaster for Zephyr, and it looks like the Radiant side may try and live up to their name and exact revenge as they chase down Eosin and possibly move for some tower pushing.
Yeah, that was actually really unfortunate how that played out. Eosin's still going to give them a wild goose chase because of his ultimate and Force Staff, but I don't know if he can actually escape. Lynx and all this, I don't know. In the end, it doesn't even matter so much. He's just wasting their time trying to make sure that they get the respawns and everything out. And in fact, he looks like he will survive, which is quite ludicrous considering the situation. But there it is. The Abaddon ultimate, quite powerful. But back to the team fight and how that played out. I want to say that Sexy Bambo played that extremely well. He jumped in on top of the Tidehunter. He had his Primal Split on top of him. He threw him up with Tornado twice, and he prevented him from blinking in the entire time. So I really love Bambo's movement on top of the Tidehunter and preventing that Ravage for so long, but even if it delays it 10 seconds, 12 seconds, 15 seconds, Zephyr, the only thing they were doing during that time was putting some damage in the tower. So the tier 3 falls, but in the end, that, like you were saying, the cleave of the Ember Spirit really takes its toll, and Zephyr just couldn't stand against it.
Yeah. Agreed. Still, the damage was done, and what's to stop Zephyr from just doing that again? No glyph this time, and once they have the exorcism up, they can just press forward, and this time it's just the bare barracks. And they will do a 5-man grouping towards the mid. Only 5 charges on this Bloodstone, but now Blitz is level 16, so exorcism is that much more potent as well.
Yeah, this is the absolute timing to win the game right here, if they can, or at least take the lane of racks, obviously. There's more to Dota than just one single lane, but without Ravage for 30 seconds, this is their best opportunity. No delay, go in, exorcism, and here we go.
Yeah, Winter, no Ravage for 25 seconds, will get silenced. It seems he'll be the target of choice. Blitz just trying to survive for now as he gets 4 stabbed away. Does still have his Yules available, as well as a lot of wand charges. Johnny taking a lot of damage. He's still surviving from the regen, but it's not enough. He falls. Corey now taking a lot of damage, won't be able to retreat. Blitz falls as well. It's a 2 for 2. Buyback from the Alchemist, also a buyback here on the Ember Spirit. And Zephyr will be repelled. Racks are still standing. They do a lot of damage to the range racks. And they force out 2 buybacks. But still, Johnny's Revenge will hold.
Yeah, it's a hold, but it was still an extremely well-timed one from Zephyr. Whoever's calling times on Ravage just deserves a commend right there. The second that Ravage, actually about 3 or 4 seconds before Tidehunter got Ravage back available, they were out. They were just bailing 100%. They knew exactly when they couldn't win the fight, and they were able to avoid just an absolute massacre when JR bounced back. So now Chibi's trying to push through the wave. He's not last hitting because he has that gold debuff, but yeah, he bought back, Johnny bought back, and that's a huge cost. Even if they don't lose the racks, that's setting them back so significantly in their progression.
Chibi has been able to pick up a Crystallis, though, following that Battle Fury, so at least he is still finding some item progression despite that buyback. Now a level 2 Necro Book up on the Brewmaster. And Abaddon, is he going for an Ag Scepter here? He has a point booster.
That is absolutely what he's going for, and if he can actually get it, that is extremely game-breaking in this scenario. Like, the amount of mitigation it provides is better than the Kunkka's bow buff, and of course, all that damage is healing up Eosin as well. So it's this massive way to just keep your team alive, which of course is what Abaddon is all about. Winter is here, Invis, waiting in the wings, but yeah, that if he can get to that Aghanim Scepter, that'll be crazy.
Yeah. Oh, Ravage used on Blitz. He still has an Exorcism available, but hasn't popped it yet. There's the Yules to buy himself some time. Eosin gets silenced. And out comes the Mystic Flare. Not enough for the kill, but Blitz will use his ultimate. Now Exorcism flying through. Viper falls. Johnny in the fray, getting clicked down hard. He's trying to regenerate through it, but it's not enough. It's a 1-for-1 to get things started. Paulson taking a lot of damage, but also dealing a lot with that Eye of the Storm. He will finish off the Death Prophet, but it costs him his life. Or pardon me, finishes off the Viper, but it cost him his life.
That actually wasn't too bad for JR, all things considered, but now they don't have an Alchemist for 45 with absolutely no buyback. They know it. And the Ravage is on CD. This is still Zephyr not... I don't think this is Zephyr's opportunity to break the base open, but it gives them the control of the map for this entire period. And it looks like they still want to kind of go 3-man, but
yeah, they'll break
I'm not 100% confident in that.
Well, they seem to be. Glyph is up for Johnny's Revenge here. Maybe they'll just go for the range racks and click it down before they make the retreat. We'll see what they want to do. In comes Winter, blink forward. There's your Mystic Flare. Blitz taking a lot of damage. Will force staff back. Sexy Bambo with the Thunderclap. Trying to create some space for his team, but he'll get locked in place. Nice swap from Merlini. Buys him some time. Magic Missile comes in, but doesn't do anything. And Zephyr will just be repelled. They did a little tiny bit of chip damage to the ranged barracks, but pretty unsuccessful with that push.
For the most part, just rattling sabers and trying to put the pressure out. Now that they have their full lineup here, they might be able to actually make more of it. But yeah, at least at the moment, they are really just taking control of things. Unfortunately, they did lose a couple of lives to the Razor, but the fact that they're able to still consistently bring the Razor down and force those high-duration BKB charges out is very important. Holosan is now down to 7 seconds on his Black King bar. And like when you have a 10-second BKB and a pipe on a Razor, he's not going down anytime soon. But now they've kind of alleviated it. Pulsar isn't as threatening, and as soon as that BKB expires, they can all just focus him down.
So I'm really curious about this Ag Scepter on Abaddon. I've been thinking about it this whole time, and I don't think I've ever cast a game where an Abaddon has been able to farm it up. And for those that are not privy to the upgrade, it's one of the newer ones, and it basically makes Borrowed Time an AoE. And 900 units around the Abaddon, when he has Borrowed Time on, it'll absorb damage for anybody on his team in that area, and then redirect that damage dealt to allied heroes. Is that correct?
No, it redirects it to him. It soaks up the damage that they would be taking, and it brings it to him. So he gets healed by it. They don't take the damage.
Yeah,
I forget the percentage, but...
Okay, I had it right in my head, and I said that completely backwards. So he basically just extends Borrowed Time to all of his buddies, and he heals up super fast. But it's a 900 radius around him, which is pretty decently large.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll hold that thought, though, as the team fight breaks out here in the mid lane. Blitz pops the ultimate, and that'll be the end of the ranged racks. Glyph has already been used, and they'll stick around to try and finish off the melee. Even Primal Split used here as Paulson on the high ground. BKB popped. He will get swapped. Tries to TP home, but that's not happening. Exorcism will cut through the BKB, and now the mid lane of Rax under heavy pressure. Backdoor protection is live, and the Ghosts will tick through it, but down she goes.
Radiant's middle barracks has fallen.
So Zephyr got what they came for. Ravage flies through, connects on 2. Ember Spirit now joining the party. Bambo back in panda form, taking a lot of damage. Mystic Flare tickles Aosin, but not enough to bring him down. Still has the borrowed time, even though he's silenced. And it appears Zephyr will make it out relatively unscathed. They may lose Aosin in the fray, but that's okay. Of all the heroes to go down, Aosin is probably the best one to play that sacrificial lamb. He'll buy them a couple seconds with the borrowed time and will ultimately fall.
His death does sync up with the Roche respawn, but I'm not sure if JR even know that possibility. They'll check it, they won't see it, and they're just going to pass on by right before he respawns, which is quite unfortunate.
That's so unlucky. That's just bad RNG right there.
But yeah, in that, you could tell that Winter really wanted to initiate. He just picked up his Shiva's Guard. He wanted to help out Polasan, but he's just swapped out too far. The movement from Merlini, pulling him completely out of position. If they followed through with that, if they tried to bail him out, it would have been suicidal for more than just him. So they, in the end, let him go and force him to buy back. They get the ESN, but like you said, that is absolutely no exchange for them.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Yes, indeed. So my question, though, has Zephyr done enough damage? I mean, one lane of Rax is certainly not an insurmountable lead, and yeah, they still have the farm advantage. We'll glance at the graphs. It's only 5,000 gold, and Johnny's Revenge actually have about a 2,500 experience edge. They're still well in this game. And this Ember Spirit with 3,000 gold, he's starting to get a little scarier. Now picks up a double damage rune, and if he goes for a second Battle Fury here, breaking another lane of Rax for Zephyr is going to be very difficult unless they can take a successful team fight outside of the base. Thinking about engaging on Paulison, but he has a haste rune, so he'll survive easily.
Yeah, but without Ravage, it's going to be Zephyr to take this Roche, and this is a cheese Roche. Like, I absolutely agree with you that JR are not out of this game, but 2 minutes from now, I can't say the same. It's right now so difficult to hold this position, and though Ember Spirit absolutely can carry this, right now he has to make use of this double damage hardcore, or cheese, Aegis, it's all for naught.
Yep, silence out on the sexy Bambo. Mystic Flare will be completely whiffed, but they will bring down Bambo perhaps. No, a nice swap from Merlini will keep him alive. And now they'll commit to the fight. Exorcism used by Blitz. They go straight on to Winter. Ravage in 10 seconds, but it doesn't matter. He will fall. Ember Spirit also got picked off by the Viper during the fight. And now things are looking very scary for Team JR. You might have been right about that one, Blaze. Oh, boy. Cheese and Aegis not burned in that skirmish. Exorcism was really the only big cooldown that they used that can't get back.
That's team play from Zephyr, though. Merlini swapping out the almost dead Panda who was silenced right into the Aphotic Shield, right back up to full HP with Urn and some quick miscoils. This is absolutely insane. Zephyr playing in a form that I have yet to see from them. So I'm extremely impressed with what they've accomplished here, and that's last outer tier tower before they push in, perhaps for the win. Right now it's going to be a swap on Polasan. I guess trying to delay him. Nope, no, it's going to be Sexy Bambo trying to finish it off. BKB TP, though, and I guess that forces a full retreat. They take the top tier, too, but without those individuals, Venge and Brewmaster, all they can get is a deny before recouping, regenning, and going in for the kill.
And wow, even an Ag Scepter picked up on the Vengeful Spirit now. So super long range swaps, or pardon me, super low cooldown swaps. And very close to level 16 where it will have that ultra long range of 1200. And that's when things really get interesting with the Vengeful Spirit. The 10-second 1200 range swaps are, you're just hopping all over the place.
Yeah, it's interesting that Eosin decided to go back for the Vladimir's offering. I guess he decided, okay, 1,000 gold isn't coming fast enough. The Aghanim Scepter would be great, but right now it's good to just have it casually for extra HP and mana, and the Vladimir's offering would do a ton of work for the Brewmaster, and yeah, it's just a good item overall. Getting the bonus armor doesn't really do that much against Sleight of Fist's cleave, but the single target aspect is still quite brutal, so they'll be able to mitigate that. They'll be able to amplify their damage, the Brewling's damage, in conjunction with the Vengeance Aura, and this will be all they need to really just break through.
And Blitz still holding on to the cheese, now has a Shiva's Guard and Boots of Travel with a casual vitality booster for now. We'll probably be upgrading that into a Heart of Tarrasque before too long. So Zephyr, now that they have this next round of core items complete, Aegis and Cheese still standing, I think we'll see a 5-man push come out before too long.
Yeah, they have to make a move before Winter picks up a refresher or before Ember Spirit just gets too big with like the Daedalus plus Battle Furies, etc. We do see the Demon Edge up for Chibi. But
that refresher is not coming anytime soon. He went pipe into Shiva's, so he is nowhere close to that one.
Still going to go for some split push play, maybe try to put some pressure on the racks and force somebody to go back. But we see, as soon as he sees the opposition poised on the top lane, he has to TP back. Now Shiva's on cooldown, and Zephyr looking to close this one out here now.
Yep, Merlini gets initiated upon, caught by the Searing Chains, but will force staff back to the high ground. Nicely played. Blitz going straight in. Max movement speed on the race car here. Forces out the glyph. They'll grab Chibi. He gets swapped and brought down. And no buyback on him. Still on cooldown. I think this is it. Johnny almost survives, but just doesn't have the regen. Meanwhile, Panda's already gone into split mode. Isolates the Skywrath. Ravage flies through, but too little, too late. Two are already down, and the rest of JR trying to retreat towards the well. Exorcism just cutting them down. Paulison falls. Down goes the Tide. And GG, well playeds are called as Zephyr take game 1 of this best-of-3 series.
Awesome game. JR still to the bitter end. We're fighting it out, and they did have a chance with that Ember, but Zephyr, they just held true to their strategy and were able to go for that full-on death ball. I gotta say, the best part about it was their timings. Like, I want to say Eosin played out of his mind with the Abaddon, but really it's the behind-the-scenes work that we can't just see from our perspective. It's whoever was timing those cooldowns, knowing when Ravage was up, knowing when Fortify was up, knowing when Roshan was up. That's what won them the game, is knowing exactly when they needed to move in and when they needed to retreat.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And part of the issue with the Tide is he worked well and Winter played well. It's just the cooldown. Do you think that would have been different had he gone for a refresher instead of Shiva's after the pipe?
Well, unfortunately, the Shiva's is almost required to be able to get a pipe and a double Ravage off, just because of the mana intensity that it has about it. So the Shiva's is pretty important, but I don't know. I don't honestly think the pipe was that big. Like, the pipe was helpful. The Brewmaster does magical damage. The Viper has some, but I don't know if it was as important as just going raw for Shiva's refresher.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But we'll have a quick break here, guys. We've got game 2 of this best-of-3 series between Zephyr and Johnny's Revenge coming up next. I'm Zayori. Joining me remotely is Blaze. Thank you so much for joining us on BTS for this WEC coverage. We'll be right back after this quick break.